Hi, I'm Greg Mahayich, an application engineer with Norton Abrasives, and today I'm here to talk to you about Norton's new hardwood floor fast set epoxy. This is a quick setting 5-minute epoxy, which is ideal for doing board replacements, fixing hollow spots, and filling knot holes. The epoxy kit comes with 1 tube epoxy, 4 mixing nozzles, and 4 small tip injector nozzles for doing hollow spot repairs. There's also a bag of replacement nozzles, which comes with 10 mixing nozzles and 10 small tips. And separate is a dispensing gun for the epoxy. So now let's jump into assembling the gun, use of the product, and purging the tube of air. Assembly is very easy. Just take the plunger rod, push up on the lever, and slide into the gun. Then flip down the holder for the epoxy, drop the epoxy tube in, and push back and snap in place. Twist off the cap, and then twist on the mixing nozzle. And then when you want to use the small tip, that just fits right on the end of the mixing nozzle. For safety purposes, I'm wearing my safety glasses and gloves to work with the epoxy. Now, an important first step before using the epoxy is to make sure you purge the air out of the tube. Now, that's going to ensure that you get a proper mix of the 2 parts of epoxy through the nozzle so that you don't wind up spreading out a good amount of epoxy that won't fully cure. Now, the way to do that is you take the cap off and you're going to squeeze out about a quarter size amount of epoxy. Make sure all the air out and the epoxy's coming out both sides of the tube. Then you're going to put your mixing nozzle on, and you're also going to lay down a bead that's about 2 to 3 inches long, and that's going to make sure that all of the epoxy coming out of the tube is completely mixed before you use it. Now that we have our epoxy tube properly purged, we're going to use it to fix a hollow spot in the board. So to start with, we're going to use a 3/32 drill bit to drill a small hole in the board. Going to use our small tip on the mixing nozzle and just put it in the hole, and we're going to inject epoxy down there. Okay, our next repair we're going to show is doing a full board replacement on a floor. So we have our board already cut to fit, bottom of the groove's taken off to fit in. So we're going to take our epoxy that's been properly purged, and we'll lay a bead of epoxy down in the back side of the groove, and then a bead of epoxy on the subfloor. Then you're going to take the board, tap in place. Depending how the board fits, you may have to put a little weight on there to hold it in place for 5 minutes until it fully cures. And after that, you have a permanent repair. The last repair we're going to show is filling a knot hole. Now, just like the previous repairs, you want to make sure your tube is properly purged before you use it. So we're going to fill the knot hole with enough epoxy, so the epoxy just sits on the surface. In 5 minutes, it's going to be fully cured, and at that point, it'll be ready to sand. We hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. For more information, visit nortonabrasives.com.